This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Today, we kick off 5 straight days of competition that will set the stage for playoffs and champion soul. It's time to put up or shut up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 1 of VCT Americas Super Week.
Oh, God.
That's right, baby. We're coming at you live once again from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. Of course, I'm Golden Boy here, talking to you right now. We got some great analysts on the docket today. We got Athena, we have Mimi, and we have an Ender all the way over there at the end. Guys, miss you. How you doing? Didn't see you all last week. You didn't show up to work.
Yeah, didn't show up. Was living the dream, though, getting to watch. It was fun. The first week was already so exciting. I feel like the meta is in such an interesting place with so many different options to experiment, which makes me excited to see our final team debut today with Crew and everyone play again as well.
And I've decided to shut up. I could put up, but
you just you could put up, but you decided to shut up. I respect that. Sometimes
I like putting up.
Yeah,
my preference.
Move forward from that one. Now, of course, you know what this means, folks. It's Super Week. Yes, that's right. You're gonna get explosions, a lot of explosions from me. But first and foremost, so let's go ahead and hear what Super Week means to our pros. See, look at that every time. It's great.
For most teams, it's going to be Super Week, where they're going to be playing 2 games within the same week.
It's a pretty exciting week for me. Hoping to come out with some dubs there.
Vai ser uma semana bem difícil pra gente.
It'll be a good one, I think. Overall, I think we're kind of getting a grasp of how to play on stage against Sam and I. For me, I don't really feel pressure going into matches or anything like that. I don't feel pressure from like a crowd or like the opponent that we're playing against. We come out the game and we're happy with the result that we give. It might not be a win, it might not be a loss, but as long as we're satisfied with how we played, the results should come.
Super semana. Então acaba que, se eu não me engano, cada equipe joga 2 ou 3 vezes.
Because I think I played Saturday and Tuesday. We're just gonna dial back in. I really have high expectations to confront the Super Week and do different than we did in stage 1.
É a grande semana. Vários jogos.
That's right. This week is going to be tough. Our teams are going to be playing multiple matches, and I mean that's difficult no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to prep for different teams every single week, and it's really hard when you have such a short time frame, and you've just played. So you kind of have, like, you know, your VODs are out there to watch. People are ready to kind of see what you've been doing. But like Mimi said earlier, with the new metas, there's so much room for crazy changes to happen.
There's not a lot of time, and with the round robin rolling over from stage 1, a lot of teams' playoff chances are going to be defined this week. So that little bit of prep going in, those 2, maybe 3 days you have between your games, are going to be so important for these teams.
yeah, because you could go from having a solid chance to continue to advance to you have a bad week, you lose 2 games in 3 days, and all of a sudden your chances are nothing or next to nothing. It could go that quickly for some of our squads.
Yeah, it is going to be intense without a doubt here, but let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be seeing at the start of Super Week, because we got 2 bangers, baby. First up is going to be Evil Geniuses taking on the newly revitalized Furia, who are fresh off of their upset win over 100 Thieves. And then it's going to be your Sentinels taking on the 5-1 Crew Visa, making their first appearance in Stage 2. Mimi, that second game excites me a ton because we saw a lot of what Sentinels could bring to the table, but I do want to know what Kessin and the boys are cooking up over in Crew.
Yeah, my biggest question is, what is Crew going to look like? Are they going to kind of reinvent themselves with the meta change? In the past, they've always been a really standard team, playing the older comps, putting Kessin on Jet every
just runs the Jet.
You either play Jet or you play Raze, you play a basic comp, you're great. But they've had a lot of time and have potential to really throw Sen for a loop today, which would be massive for their season, sitting already at 5-1.
My bold prediction, it's a Kesnit Reyna era.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, we'll see if that happens. We have time. You know, so the pressure, I mean...
I think people are sleeping a little bit on the Reyna.
Yeah, it feels no Reyna at all. It was actually kind of...
just a little bit. Not on a lot of maps. But my Icebox, ooh, a little old Paper X action on
Reyna's
Bind.
always been fine on
Reyna.
Yeah, but I think the changes are actually
But
like
now
really
Reyna
sweet now.
is finer.
The dismiss.
Reyna's finer on Icebox. Huh? Huh? Yes? No?
I don't even know what you're trying to do.
What are you talking
This is
about?
why. I miss Walla and I miss Wyatt. In any case, so guys, now this week our teams are going to be playing on patch 9.00, and we could be saying goodbye to ISO because this is the one where your boy ended up seeing a little bit of a nerf here.
I think it's pretty significant. I mean, down to 12 seconds means you have to be super careful about when you're going for the engage. Previously, you could kind of pop on an opening engagement and then reposition somewhere in the map and still have that shield up. Now it's very much isolated to one fight, one opportunity, and it also makes it way easier for teams to find that timing window to freeze the rounds and not give the ISO value.
I think that's the biggest thing, because at 20 seconds, you hear the shield pop, and it's like, am I really just chilling out for 20? Like, that's a really long time. 12 seconds is far more manageable to just, like, realize where that ISO is going to be coming from and attack somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, and I think just in general, it's a lot less scary to kind of play against because, like Mimi said, you can time everything almost perfectly to kind of play around the ISO, but also ISO's probably not going to be as confident in their takes, and they're going to need a lot more util to be able to set up for any of those aggressive peaks, which usually, I mean, you can just kind of like be a tank and run through, but right now he can't.
On top of that also, once your shield is gone, it's gone. You don't have that refresh after 2 kills like you used to have. So I think I'd be surprised if a lot of teams are still sticking to the ISO pick, quite honestly. I think you can do some cool stuff like what EG was doing with their Icebox, but I feel like this is a pretty significant nerf to the guy.
The really difficult thing, I think, for a lot of teams is they haven't had a lot of time to adjust to these nerfs, right? They knew these nerfs were coming, but like you were playing it last week with the patch. Do you switch it on multiple maps
And to be
coming
fair,
into this week?
I don't think ISO was like that amazing. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like what we were seeing with like Neon and stuff like that.
At least in pro play, I think it's a lot harder to get value out of him. Like the spam on the shield, we saw that getting punished even when EG was playing well with it. I don't think it was because the shield was super overpowered in most rounds.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what, though? Speaking of Neon and the rest of the agents, I do want to give a little bit of a note there that you also have Abyss that's going to be added to the map pool, so a bit of a side for a moment. But
that's in playoffs.
That's in playoffs.
We're chill for now.
We
for playoffs.
We love
My bad.
split. You wouldn't know the meaning of the word.
Should have read that part, missed it, bad at my job. Now, you know what we didn't talk about, though? That much. We didn't talk about Neon. Now, Neon's still going to be a problem here. And one of our creators in the community, Temid, is a master of Neon trick shots. And we asked him to show us how it's done.
It starts out with me realizing there is only one person left alive. I then pull up my sprint and start jumping towards where I heard them fighting my teammate. Jumping on the boxes with Neon is a really good way to take space and get information on where the enemy is. Since Icebox has so many boxes and ropes, it makes it really easy to confuse someone when they are last alive or they don't have much information. While I was jumping on 410, I see the Reyna and stun her while continuing to jump around to make it really hard for her to land a shot on me. After Reyna is stunned, I decide to jump out towards her and slide to hit a nice no-scope to win the round.
Easy, right? Easy peasy. So for a closer look at what Neon can do, thankfully, we have a pro player that is on the staff who can do this and back us up. Isn't that right, Baby Bay?
Pro player?
Yeah, you used to be good at the game one time, isn't that right? Not that long ago.
No, that is true. It's been a minute, though, on Neon. I'll do my damnness to get this Neon jumping around. But,
all right, show us.
I mean, I used to be great at it. Let's see what I got in the chamber here.
Oh, pressure's on. Pressure's on.
The stun.
No!
You
didn't even hit a reversal! You freaking hit it again!
Oh, nice!
He didn't even hit it in the reversal!
I still got it.
Oh man.
My gosh.
Honestly, I feel like we could just end the segment there.
Yeah, that was pretty lit.
You know what? We're done, brother.
Good job.
All right, well, there you have it. Let's go ahead and get it. Thank you, Baby Bay. Appreciate you.
Yo.
We don't have to do it again, right, production? No? Good? All right, let's go ahead and come back with us here. We'll see Baby Bay for his cast later on today. But first, though, let's get into today's first matchup. Evil Geniuses versus Furia, and I still can't believe he hit that damn shot. He literally
will say it was pre-recorded.
He literally didn't do it in the rehearsal, and he clutched
It made
here.
it look too easy. It's also like people are going to be like, oh yeah, I should be hopping on Neon on Icebox and running around in 360 no-scoping.
If I see anyone in my games trying to do that, I might just be alt F4ing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I tried to find him, man. My guy was floating in the sky, Mary Poppins style. It was crazy stuff there. In any case, though, folks, let's go ahead and dive into this one here because EG needs a win to climb up in the standings. But for Furia, every single game that they play up until this point is going to mean so much more. One match left, and they will qualify for playoffs, but they're sitting at a 1-5 record, and EG does not want to give this one up to the Brazilians.
Yeah, I mean, for Furia, last week was their first win, right? Like, just bar none. Like, stage 1 was dreadful for them. But Evil Geniuses, right, I think have a lot to be working towards here.
I feel like when I was watching EG, I had really high hopes for them too. Like when I saw the meta and I saw the new ways that they're kind of being innovative with everything, I am so excited to watch them play. I feel like for Furia though, on the other hand, when you forget that first win, you kind of have that momentum, low-key, and I feel like they were also cooking on some of these comps. And so kind of this matchup with EG and Furia, I think, EG and Furia is going to be like really interesting because I think they're both kind of cooking.
Yeah, it does feel like EG might be peaking at the right time, though. Finding their form in stage 2. They're 3-3 now. They still have a really good chance of making it into playoffs.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this Loud game, I think, was the proof of them being able to carry that performance from stage 1 over. I loved the innovation they were bringing, but I think Jaws and Neon really stole the show.
Yeah, and I think that's a great sign, because I think everyone would say stage 1, Jawgamo was not the same level of Jaw that we are so used to seeing. I think
it was like the worst performance we've ever seen.
Yeah, 100%. And now seeing that Neon come in and look very strong, the ISO 2 is another pocket pick option for him. I think that this really inspires a lot of confidence for EG.
I was talking a lot last week about how Jog, his mechanical movement on Neon was just so good, but he also had an insane amount of impact on ISO, which I think is insane because we talked about ISO not really being kind of, the distance maker.
He was the outlier for sure.
He was the outlier, but he had so much impact and he just proceeds to continue to put up numbers for his team.
I will say, I liked what they were bringing with the ISO on Icebox and Map 3. I think they actually had some stuff cooked up outside the shield, using the decay to combine to go for that early shock, things like that. But I wasn't as sold by this first map when they were playing on the Lotus. I felt like they could just sub that ISO out, play the Neon instead, and that might even work better. We saw his shield getting spammed down. They didn't, in my opinion, have as many ideas to show with the other ISO abilities, but still, I think it's an interesting pocket pick to have as an option.
Yeah, and I was mainly surprised on that first map because in the past, Evil Genius's Lotus was so defined by how good they were on the lurks, right? Whether it was APOTH or whether it was Nature, testing outside of B, outside of A, etc. So in that sense, I'm like, okay, if you're playing that same style with double smokes, the ISO could make some sense if you're just like playing to take more fights instead of just hard exec into sites. So I'm kind of with you there. I would like personally to see them shift into some kind of dive direction.
I also am interested, to see a little bit more depth on the Icebox too. I think some of the aggro looks they were showing on A, especially when the Clove was pushing up and taking a lot of risks, even when they didn't have ult, resulted in a lot of rounds where players were dying early, they were conceding first picks. I felt like that Sunset was super solid, but I still feel like there are some cracks that they're waiting to shore up on these other maps.
Do you guys feel like Neon is going to be incorporated now instead of the ISO with these changes?
I think so.
I want to see it.
I actually feel like when you look at the, especially the Lotus one, I think like just slot Neon in there. Yep. I mean, he's feeling the agent. I don't see a reason why to take him off of
For sure. And I want to circle back on something you said about the individual mechanics on his entries on Neon, because I think that's one of the things that is so hard to see in a dive player, and that's something that Jaw has always been so good at. I remember like his Raze. He is one of the best mechanical dive players in the world, and I think his Neon 2 is excellent in that regard. I think that's a big strength that EG should be building around.
The other interesting thing, too, was that people were role swapping to make this happen. In particular, Nature, I mean, taking a pretty big change from playing almost 100% Senti last stage, and now switching over and playing Breach in 2 of these maps, which I feel like was super critical for them to be able to go on this run they did and set Jaw up for success.
Yeah, and especially on this map of Lotus, when he goes from being the lurker, sort of opening up a lot of space with his own individual play, now transitioning into the Breach, and it caused a huge pivot in how the team played, opening so much heavier towards front B, towards front C, using that Breach utility to clear in space.
Yeah, and when you're usually on Breach, you do want to use it to set up some sort of movement agent, but again, because they had that ISO, it was all on Breach to kind of make the openings for everyone to scale and path onto site. That and the reactive util combo for retakes was just insane for Nature.
And it's not like Nature has never played these other agents, right? Like last stage played a little bit of Breach, even played a Yoru on Breeze for this Evil Geniuses team, and that's something that I think we need to actually respect a little bit more in Nature is the flexibility of this player to play wildly different styles on maps, and especially with a big meta shift, because I think a lot of teams last stage were playing double smokes on a ton of maps, and we are moving away from that. We're going to start seeing way more double initiator, and having a guy like Nature who can play your secondary smokes on some maps or your breach or Yoru on others is a massive, massive bonus for your team.
Yeah, that versatility, especially right now with the way that the comps are and just so much, confusion in the
experimentation.
You're going to need guys who are reliable hands like that can actually get stuff done in a variety of different agents here. But speaking of agent composition change-ups, so we actually saw Furia do the same thing as well. We saw this team start to really create an identity for themselves little by little. It's still early days, but there's still an opportunity for them. And on top of that, they took down 100 Thieves, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, this was an insane upset. I don't think anyone could have seen this coming from a Furia who struggled so much stage 1. And well, EG is a team that's on, I think, the cutting edge right now, really experimenting with the ISO, putting out things like that. Mirror, this is something we were talking about, but it feels like Furia is finding like the right balance. They're playing the Neon on Haven, which has already been proven in the past, but now implementing this Gecko. They have a lot of really reasonable, good ideas, and that Haven in particular was super impressive to me. I think this is going to be the meta comp on that map.
For sure. I mean, when you have it, set the comps aside, the way that Furia was playing, they had their protocols ready. They were able to quickly move and have that fluid movement and IGL ability to kind of move around the map, get the openings they need, react of what the other team was doing, and be able to fully battle the other comp. They fully understood that the way that the other comp was, they knew exactly how to counter it.
Which was so cool, because I thought the way they reacted to 100 Thieves defaults was very impressive, especially like 100 Thieves were playing this like KO on Haven, which I don't think anyone's really seen, but like finding ways to play around, the knife and punish that A lobby control. I thought that was their biggest strength, like you're saying, is how they called around the consistent pieces of utility that 100 Thieves were showing at round starts. And I think with the tape, 3 different maps they saw against Evil Geniuses, they're going to try and do very similar things today.
I will say, though, I do feel like it should be noted that 100 Thieves was definitely playing below the normal level we expect from this team. Icebox in particular, I think they were falling back into a lot of the same rounds. Their A hits, the same util cycle that Khalil was consistently able to dodge, get kills on the site, and play the Flood retake. I don't think that you should discount what Furia did in that upset. They were playing great. They played up to the level of the
I was going to ask
the individuals were great. The prep was on point, but 100 Thieves was definitely making a lot more mistakes and didn't punish a lot of rounds that they really should have.
Mimi hates Furias, actually.
I don't.
She told me before the show.
I don't know if
she was like, I'm going to do this whole spiel about how, 100 Thieves underperformed and Furia
and
actually
they did.
stink.
But
they underperformed, but a team like 100 Thieves...
Wait, I agree with the second part. I realized I said I agree really loud. I don't agree with the second part.
You got him. What are the Twitter handles? Can we...
We got her, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man.
Brazil, do your thing.
I was trying to
instigating.
Agree. No, because 100 Thieves, it felt like they were just so repetitive with their movements. And a lot of their util was just so fast at getting countered, exactly what you guys said. But again, we need to give the props to Furia as well, because they managed to insert those protocols themselves, and they were able to get the first picks a lot of the time. And so I feel like for Furia, they have this new foundation to kind of start, to get a new momentum going into it. 100 Thieves wasn't the best, but Furia is still looking better than I feel like I've seen them before.
To defend myself for a second, they did have a lot of really good rounds on their attack side of Icebox. I'm thinking in OT, where they call that perfect overtime round. No. I still think 100 Thieves underperformed.
It's a big one.
They were stepping up. This is the best we've seen Furia play all year, even with the other stuff in mind.
That's very true, very true. Hey, you know what, though? I think everyone coming into this particular matchup is excited about one a feud that we could see developing out of this. That would be very fun. Yeah, and it's Mimi's favorite topic, the Duelist. It's, of course, MW Zera, Jogamo, both on the Neon. I want to see if MW Zera can match up to what Jog was pulling off, because I think that was kind of the talk of the town that throughout all of the first week was like, hey, Jog's doing some really cool and innovative things. Everyone else is sliding and getting kills, but Jog was actually taking advantage of the kit of this agent.
For sure, and especially with both these teams running a lot more like heavy exec comps too, you need an entry player on the Neon that is absolutely prime. I mean, Jog was out here winning all the ISO 1v1s when he wasn't on the Neon, but showing a lot of flexibility, I think, in that agent. But we'll see how much it sticks around, because I do think it's going to be primarily Neon.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Judgment, when he was playing Raze, he had the best Raze movement in the world. I stand by that.
I mean, he said it himself, movement's his thing.
Yes, absolutely. And it shows here, this clip was absolutely nasty. I mean, the stun, being able to shoot while you're moving, the way he's navigating around the utility. I think we saw a really good head-to-head there between the kind of two styles of playing this agent. We saw Sadak playing that agent, who was very much dedicated to playing with the team, into the same setups, into the same, like, very much playing with the team, only taking a few timings to actually go for these risky slides and things. But Ja took so many more chances to actually go for stuff, find his own timing, create his own gap. He's so disruptive on that agent that I don't think we've seen anyone else do yet on Neon this year.
You know what's
besides,
funny?
like, maybe Mini Boo in EMEA?
Yeah, he actually was way more active as well on the defensive side of Sunset. He was running down mid, taking control. He was pushing and taking the fight to the other team, and he was not afraid of doing that. A lot of the time you see, well, on attack, oh, he's going in, entering. Yeah, he's insane mechanically. But his defense side as well was just insane to watch.
I think that's my favorite thing of how Ja uses the new Neon, because you have the two slides, is you're not just like holding your slide to exec into a site. You can use it to fight for shorter space, like how we saw him going for that slide over an A main on Sunset.
Right?
So you have a lot more options to fight for quick space, just like fish in with a breach flash or something to take that kill, and then still have another option for later in the round, and he abuses that so well.
Also, shout out to Ja. I watched him play, was inspired, played 15 Neon games in ranked, and I won 80% of them. So
hey,
I credit that to Ja. So thanks, man.
Yeah, look at that. Pretty awesome stuff. Well, you know what?
So good.
Were you breaking some ankles out there?
Occasionally.
Some occasional ankles?
Nothing like Ja.
Hey, well, you know what? Speaking of Ja, we've got a new sponsor, by the way, for our show here for Super Week with a very important message. Let's check it out.
Have you ever had your ankles broken by evil geniuses, Jaw Gmo? If so, call the law firm of Frierson and Wormkrantz because you may be entitled to a cash settlement.
Nothing hurts more than being humiliated by an overtuned agent on Valorant's biggest stage. But you know what makes it sting just a little bit less? A cut of that 2023 Champions prize.
With over 4 years or really hours of legal experience between us, we guarantee that we'll help you get the settlement you deserve.
Just listen to our satisfied client.
Guys,
Mr. Mendez?
I don't know if you're probably going to jail for this. You shouldn't be imitating a lawyer.
Sir, that's
I broke my freaking leg because of you guys. What are you doing? I'm handicapped.
The law firm of Frierson and Wormkrantz. We're here until the nerfs come in.
Hi, Jajimo. A belated birthday to you, Mr. 25. Now, I have to ask you, while we're in celebrations about your birthday, are you worried that you're going to be sued for breaking so many ankles on Neon?
I'm a little worried, but like, I mean, I gotta do what I gotta do to get the team to the victory. So
yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. But today you're going to be playing on 9.0, where the ISO has received a bit of a nerf. You were on ISO last week. Is that going to change your team comp at all?
I mean, we had to see, because like, you know, ISO's a little debuffed, so you might see a little different. You might see me breaking more ankles. So.
Well, how did that ISO Neon play come to be? Like, what was that conversation like with Potter and the team?
I was like, Coach, like, ISO's kind of broken right now. Like, we could just run it on any map you want. And she's like, all right, let's test it out. And I mean, it worked out in our favor for Icebox. I mean, Lotus, we could have wanted to, but you know, we were just getting warmed up into the series. So, yeah.
With ISO versus Neon, do you feel more limited on one versus the other?
Not really, because I mean, I play the way I play. So as long as I play to my game, it doesn't matter what I play.
Well, best of luck in the game and the lawsuit.
He's not winning the lawsuit.
We really got to vet those sponsors. I mean, honestly, how do they manage to get on the broadcast? Maybe
paid money?
So I mean, at some point we have to have an approvals process. All right, guys. And look at that, all healed. Anyway, all right, if I put the kick up, I'll probably break my hip. Anyway, now, let's go ahead and dive in to our boy Khalil. Now, in this win that they pulled off against 100 Thieves, here's the thing. Khalil from Furia, he stepped up in ways that we have not seen him do for a little while. And this is a guy, Myrna, that's always been one of those hands that this team needed.
Watching this game was insane because at some point he was just playing aim laps. He was taking aim deals. He was not afraid. And using that controller util to delay for so long for all of his team to be able to rotate and get so much information. The way that he played was insane. He stepped up in a way that we haven't seen from him in a long time, I feel.
Hot minute.
Since a very distinct time. Week 1 of 2023, the kickoff of VCT Americas as a whole, it was the same stuff. I remember him on Pearl absolutely destroying people. This guy's mechanics have always been great, but he needs the rest of the team to be performing to see games like this where he is really shining. But I don't want to get baited too much, because I do remember deeply overreacting after watching them play week 1. Furia may or may not have been #1 in the Americas power rankings back then. And then they stopped performing like this. So I think the question this time...
Speaking of things we have to stop trusting. The old power rank.
Yes.
Those are looking up. But honestly, like, it is true. Like, this guy's out here dropping a 30 bomb on Haven, and it's like triple OT. Like, he was playing so well, but it was still a very close game. So does he need to keep performing at that level if this team is going to continue to get wins? And can he actually do that? That's sort of the challenge here, because it has been a couple of months since we've last seen Furia play. Like, they were dreadful in stage 1. They could not get a win, but this could be the revitalization they need.
Well, let's actually go ahead and find out from the man himself. We got Khalil standing by with Elizabeth to hear what he has to say.
Hi, Khalil. So what is the mood of the team after getting your first victory of the entire year?
Então, o clima depois desse jogo deixou o clima bem bom. A gente tá mandando muito bem nos treinos, a gente tá numa semana muito boa. A gente tá vindo bem confiante para esse segundo jogo também. Por mais que a gente esteja com dificuldades para chegar nos playoffs, a gente vai deixar tudo nesse jogo de agora e é isso.
Yeah, this victory made the mood, elevated the mood. We're all very happy with it. We've been training, we've been going through a good week, and we're going to bring everything today, although it's hard to make it to the playoffs, but we're going to bring everything today to bring their A game.
Now, does the trash talk about Furia bother you, or does it inspire you to prove people wrong?
Sendo bem sincero, eu nem vejo assim os trash talks, eu não abro muito rede social, então isso aí não me afeta, nunca me afetou, mesmo quando eu vejo assim de tabela, eu não me afeta não. Imagino que para os meninos também não.
TBH, never really read those things. I don't go online looking for trash talk, and it doesn't bother us. I don't think it bothers me, and I also don't think that bothers the rest of the guys. So we don't look at it.
All right. Well, best of luck today.
Thank you.
This is, of course, a high-pressure situation here for Furia, because if they get this win, they'll be cleared for the playoffs. And then from there, I mean, you're just playing with house money. So we'll see what happens today. But, of course, Khalil...
Furia?
Yeah, Furia.
They're not going to make playoffs if they win.
No, if they win, then they get the 2 wins for playoffs. Is that still a thing?
That doesn't make them playoffs.
They've got to
They've got to win a lot
defeat the other teams.
I understand that, but they clear the first hurdle for playoffs. You got to get 2 wins.
Okay, yes. You do have to get to, but then you
How
have to
dare
get
you?
You have
Moving
to get a lot
on.
more after that.
Moving on.
You have to win a lot to make playoffs if you're 1-5.
I understand that.
Furia's
That's not what I was saying.
Boy.
Hey, I was big on the Furia stocks coming out of Kickoff, though, to be completely fair. Now, of course, here's the thing. We do have a historical record here for EG and Furia in the past. But, of course, I think that with the way things are right now, Mimi, and the way that the patch is played out, I mean, this truly
They were playing Fracture.
Yeah, bring it back.
You can play me on there? This truly is anyone's game with the way that both teams have kind of showed us what they are capable of coming out of week 1.
Yeah, I think some people might look at this and just kind of on paper heavily favor EG when you're looking at the record, when you're looking at the past. But really, Furia, I think, stepped up massively. Getting that first win has proved to be the hurdle before. We saw it with Crew, getting that first win in LCQ, catapulting the momentum into it. They're also in a Bye, Pen. We're also in a position where they're already kind of in a tough position with the season. I think some of that pressure can already be off, and they have a real chance of winning. Thank you.
What a good friend. What a good friend.
That's
Looking
really
out.
kind.
I can't say the same
Didn't listen
about
to a word
Mimi.
she said, but I got the pen.
Well, you know what? That's a great opportunity for us to move on from the subject, shall we? No, let's go ahead and dive into some talent predictions here. See what we all thought about this matchup and who is going to win our matches for the day. No, not again.
Why didn't someone punt Furia?
I was, but honestly, Giacomo just looked really, I mean, it's hard to bet against EG after what we saw.
We're just a hive mind. What
we are a hive mind. It's disgusting.
It's funny how much Wilkinson has changed, that he's gone from no crew belief to being their only predictor.
Yeah, I think he also did that because he knew everyone was going to pick Sentinels and that he could be the outlier and be right, which is very much for Wilkinson, what he would have done.
You're telling me he's not voting with the 100% confidence of his analytical ability? Maybe, but
How
I can't trust him.
confident are you that EG's going to win?
I'm fairly confident. Like, we're talking a 75% confidence
Really?
rating, yes.
All right, what's your percentage?
I'm EG's biggest believer.
65.
65%, okay.
80%.
80%. Yeah, I was
out here.
I was more in the 70% boat.
I feel like Furia have really good foundations and they've come a long way, but EG has been there for a while, so now it's up to like how they're able to like perform in this situation. I just feel like Furia getting their first win is momentum, but maybe not enough.
All right, well, you heard from our analysts here, but it's time to kick off day one of Super Week. So let's go ahead and send it to the stage. VCT Americas starts right now.
Movimentação em direção ao ponto B, o Kalil tá esperto, bom tapa. Tem mais um, Kalil, tem mais um, Kalil! Excelente trabalho, Kalil, aparece de novo!
Double flash going to be used here with a sideline glide, man. This guy is on fire right now.
First up is a team that has nothing to lose and everything to gain with a new pickup and a potential revitalized attitude.
Movimentação em direção ao ponto B, o Kalil tá esperto, bom tapa. Tem mais um, Kalil, tem mais um, Kalil! Excelente trabalho, Kalil, aparece de novo. Vem NZR de novo. Tá aparecendo muito bem, onda trovejante que chega do nosso bonito 3 kills. Sobra somente o EU, eliminado!
There's only 2 left alive against 3. 100 Thieves are trying to hold it down and it cannot. Furia comes out with magic.
Para mim é um sentimento muito de alegria. É o primeiro jogo que a gente ganha aqui. Fez vários trabalhos coletivos que a gente ia dar a volta por cima e essa é só a primeira fase que está se concluindo.
Furia, I think, surprised everyone when they not only beat 100 Thieves but did so 2-0. What are your thoughts?
I'll get the revenge. Just tucks his head right round the corner. He's anticipating that nobody will account for him. Really isolated. Put down into the position. Derek is rattling away. Shots at the sheriff.
I think they're looking pretty good. Watching, I could tell like they're pretty drilled, even with how little time they had as a 5. But yeah, excited for that match.
Riot Games Arena, vamos dar início aos jogos dessa super semana. Então façam barulho, porque hoje é dia de Fúria!
And it's time to bring out their opponents. Welcome to the arena, Evil Geniuses!
pivotal matchup for both teams, as is every single match in this stage. But Evil Geniuses riding a high after last week and what Jogma was able to pull off with Neon. But meanwhile, on the other side, Furia got their first win of the season. So if there's anyone who's feeling it, it's got to be Furia. This matchup is going to be intense.
Yeah, not just their first win, they took down 100 Thieves off of that one too. Like, Furia have got to be feeling
That's not a small feat right there.
Fantastic. They also got to see 3 different games that EG played on the other side, so they can come into this game, game 1 today, with a lot of prep against them.
I'm really curious what both these teams are going to bring in terms of comps. We only saw 2 maps out of Furia. For EG, we saw 3 from them, but they were playing ISO on 2. And with those bans coming through, I think Furia making a good choice to get rid of that Sunset that EG looked so good on. And we start with Bind, a map that neither team has played this year.
Well, I think this is really interesting banning from Furia, because last week they also had first ban and they banned away Bind. Now they're first picking it. This could be a Furia with a 7-map pool, which is very interesting.
I was literally just thinking the same thing, because when you're banning to your opponent's strengths instead of yours, that means you have to be so confident in everything else you have. But yes, the Haven ban coming in for EG makes sense too, because Furia looked so good. And so now, I wonder if they're just thinking, like, is this going to be a battle of neons? Like, who's going to be the better neon on Bind? But I would love to see Raze coming back into the mix too, because it's just so strong on Bind.
That's the question, right? Is, are people actually playing Neon on that map? Because I think Raze, while her ability to like dive backside A, for example, is a lot weaker now, and the dive in general is weaker, her nade is still so effective through teleports, the way you combo it. On Bind, a map where you have a lot of different corners you want to clear with those paint shells, the ultimate too, I still think she's a very valuable pick.
I feel like the Neon is actually pretty tough on this map, especially when you're on the attacking side. You're really limited in where you can go. As Neon, it's super hard to path out of hookah. It's good for long takes, but really getting stalled out, especially against Cypher teams, can be tough. I'd expect the Raze.
Well, let's see what these compositions are going to be here as the agents are getting picked.
Honestly, I think there's options in the Duelist pool, because you can play the Yoru that a lot of people were playing. I think it's even, like, last stage I would have hated it as solo dive for an option, but the Omen coming in for Superman is very surprising.
The double controller comp?
Maybe with a Harbor or something alongside it?
Sure.
I think I might have seen one on one of those screens. We'll see if that's real or not. But you can get some really tricky stuff there. The Paranoia TP, add an extra little bit, but it's with the Brim instead.
Oh, I bet they're playing ISO. I bet Omen is like sort of like semi-dive for them or something like this. Like, because they also have Paranoia to help with execs. Sure. You have ISO wall that can help you scale if they're going for that still.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
There's a world.
My counter for that was they don't have any scalable stuff, but I guess it does make sense with an ISO. Or a Neon. I mean, you could use a Neon wall to scale onto site, guys.
You still could, but I do think
I feel like without Breach, though, you struggle to find the spot for that. I don't know.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it's particularly strong, but I mean, we're at the point now where that last slot could be a few different things.
It could be the Raze, it could be the ISO. There's a lot of flexibility here for Jaw.
I'm excited. I want to see what he's going to lock in. Agent Select's been fun. Okay.
It is just the Raze. Okay, so let's talk about this double controller comp, because this is pretty odd. I think the biggest things that Omen does is you have that second dive, you have the Paranoia to help execute, and on top of that, you have that second layer of smokes on these execs to mid-round a little more.
I think the biggest thing is on defense. Forward smokes for early control is big.
All right, well, we're all set for map 1. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters for this game. It's Doug It Fresh and the Smee.
Dre, baby, it feels so freaking good to be back to kick off Super Week with a matchup like this, where we've got so many different expectations. Furia's coming off of their first win ever. And then we've got EG, and they're riding their high off of what Jog was able to do on the Neon. I'm pretty freaking pumped, man.
Yeah, and it's going to be cool. Cool compositions already. I like the look that EG has, trying new things out, not going for that Viper so much anymore.
Yeah, the Brim Omen that they're riding out.
Yeah, exactly. I just in general, Superman, he's playing these more aggressive controllers, wanting to take fights and take things into his own hands. And when you have a player like him on your team, why not put him in these spots where he can take 50-50s and win them most of the time?
Sure. Enable your star players to go off and do what they do. We'll see how that plays out. EG on the attacking side, Bind.
Where are you?
You see the kind of tail that they've had throughout the season, sitting at 3-3 as we enter, as we're actually a second step into stage 2. We've got the dog, it's already cleared up short, a heavy lean towards A. Only 2 members of the defense are currently posted up, doing their damnedest to keep the attack within arm's reach. So far, they've managed to conceal their position as best as they possibly can. A goop in the face, but no punishment found yet as Apop is the first to fall. Now the swing as the brim smoke goes down. Bodies continue to litter as Furia, with some control. They have full showers control of the Dre, but they've gotten so disjointed. They've gotten so segmented apart. How are they going to be able to stabilize? And Subtle Nature will fall, leaving Superman on his own, a 1v1 against MW, who had a ridiculous performance last week. Will keep it up again. The pistol, the way of Furia.
Super cool idea from EG to take back sight, get the Omen TP into heaven from Superman, but it just wasn't enough. Furia taking that teleporter, flanking, and basically flipping. The bomb's not planted for Superman there. So yeah, he wasn't able to clutch that out, and Khalil, he had a big kill there on the showers, getting that trade. Nice stuff. Good job bunkering down on that back side of A.
You know, you and I often talk so much about how difficult it is to hold back A on Bind. As the defense, it's miserable. All right, you've got flashes in your face. You have mollies all over the place. There's no way to really feel comfortable there. So insanely well done for Furia to be able to do that already.
Yeah, sometimes just tucking in that corner, not making any noise at all is the approach that you need to anchor a site like that. No one from EG was aware. This one way is to take B long control, just creep up there, but they're gonna run into NZR, who's got that Spectre, an ideal gun for these close range battles.
Yeah, with Khalil popping off a little bit with Bulldog over the top. No damage found yet. No space for Evil Geniuses.
There's so much utility invested as well on that B long. They do leave one here. And Jogamo is going back around into that hookah area, so this is all just a feint to beta rotation. And if one of these players on the opposite side of the map, like Apoth or Jogamo, are able to find a first blood here on a Furia, it could open up this B site. Oh, that reclear info from Furia is going to be good. They know no one's in shower at this moment. Still keeping 3 there, though. It's going to be a 5v2 hit on the B site if nothing changes from the side of Furia.
And you would think, given some of the info that they just gathered off of the reclear from showers that you mentioned a moment ago, they would want to lean B, but alas, they decide to stick to their guns, so to speak. That 1-for-1 doesn't feel great. The Bulldog's not really in a position to be scooped up, though. So you've kept that weapon. Well, at least for a moment, you had that weapon at arm's length. Superman will upgrade it. So Bulldog in hand now for the controller. MW just barely spotting the hand of nature. Not enough to take a finger off, but enough to deal some damage.
And he gets out.
Problems. You're right, he gets away.
How? That's like blunder from Furia. They should have definitely killed him. They had him dead to rights. It's not over yet, though.
Keep an eye on Khalil on the minimap. Starting to cross through spawn. We'll try to apply some pressure towards elbow or push through the smoke if he so decides to do so. Superman with 3 on the round. Jandy the last to fall. And it's a thrifty for EG.
Superman is so insane. That's why he's playing the Omen here and not the Viper. He's able to play really aggressive. He's 5-1 right now. Picked up that Bulldog on that conversion of the kill, but even just him jumping on top of that little hookah ledge and getting the headshot onto NZR, who was an elbow there. Look at this right here. I mean, beautiful work.
There are so many things that have to go right when you're going to thrifty someone with, I think there was 1 ghost and then just classic. So many things have to fall your way, right? Yeah. That's exactly what happened for EG there.
It was great macro from EG. They took B long control, denied info into showers, everything like that, and hit the site where there was only 2 defenders, so.
Oh, hold the phone. They're trying to get aggressive here. The spam through the smokes. These should not be going this way.
Yeah, it's just blow for blow right now. Spamming. It was a great fade eye. I got the connection on the multiple players. No one from the side of EG breaking that, allowing for those free sheriff shots to proceed on through. And that'll cause a freeze to the round for EG. Not wanting to get counter ecoed, I guess you could say. Roomba into hookah. Gets no info at all and still very quiet from the side of EG. And I like what Furia are doing here, just grouping up. They understand they have gun disadvantage. Why not move as a pack? You have all info now that no one's short A. VG take a little bit too long. They might miss their opportunity on this free B site. Maybe not be ready for the fast flank that is in full effect right now.
There's really nothing to watch it. There's nothing to cover for it. EG must be cautious here. We've had a couple of silly moments already, and we're just in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and hookah can be so disastrous. I imagine if this bomb isn't planted in the middle of the tube, if it's planted for hookah, it might be bad for EG. We'll see right here. Nice jiggle from Superman.
Paranoia with Apoth. Fighting a little bit more cover and a little bit of help. Noswar will fall. Fury still have a shot at this, so Jandy has upgraded a weapon. Well, he had it. Instantly hits the ground, leaving Havoc all by his lonesome. A 1v3 with the Sheriff in hand, no armor to speak of. And if you somehow get past the 3 members of EG that are still standing, you're going to have to hope, pray that there's enough time to get the defuse down, and that's just not going to be the case. So Evil Genius to stabilize in the face of Noswer and his silliness and the eye over the top and smoke and the aggression at the beginning of the round, managed to settle the round.
Good awareness from Superman specifically. I mean, that jiggle into long, using the paranoia, A-pop getting off. It's going to show in a second here after this flood of kills from that eye. And you imagine now EG are going to be more dialed in and ready to break that eye in the future. But something I want to talk to you about, Doug, is, you know, Khalil had this breakout performance against 100 Thieves in his last match.
Plus 21 in the series. That's nuts.
And it's going to be a battle of him and Superman in this series. I truly believe it, especially on a map like Bind, at least on this first map. These controllers can really take over the game. Superman's already on the way to doing that. Look at this fast, aggressive approach.
I mean, with the Thrash paving the way and the paranoia out, they've gained so much space. I mean, they're not even really fighting for backside anymore. They have all of it. Furia was nowhere near it.
It's so beautiful right now.
They do have a little bit of utility to trade in kind, though. Superman's tagged up, but Derek's got his back. They haven't even made their way past pipes yet. Now making their way backside. They still have to deal with elbows. Derek is going to go for a second dip. The Thrash is so good, and Jogamo's just better. Nade in his face, so Noswer's able to respond. 2 of his own. 3v3 on the round. Superman will fall at the hands of Havoc, giving numbers advantage the way of the defense. EG take a small step back with the spike planted. Havoc should be able to hold it to half, and it's going to fall into A-pop. The 1v2, the spam through the orb will not connect. We're tied at 2 apiece.
Good retake from Furia. I thought for a second when they invested that Thrash and it didn't get any value into U-Haul other than info, I thought it was going to be disaster for them, especially with Jojimo going up and taking aggressive angles with Derek's own Thrash in return. But the trading in that U-Haul area, that was the key right there. And then also Fade just being in showers, that presence alone. Oh, NTR. How did he get those? Job well done from the side of Furia on that retake. Not allowing EG to just have their way.
You see that smirk on his face at the end there? He knows he got away with one.
Yeah, he definitely did. But that being said, look at the economy for Furia now. I mean, 4 players on a Sheriff, a Stinger. Yeah, they won the round, but at what was the cost?
Pyrrhic victory for the defense.
Nice little tag there.
Not the Fade one away from their old Havoc as well. Yeah, the Pit and Nightfall combo can be so devastating.
Oh, Havoc is going to get punished right here. Jojimo was ahead of that Viper Molly. The crunch, though.
Havoc did eventually fall, but not without MW striking on the other side. Oh, how does he stay alive? And he gets the kill back. Is this what we're in for today? Is this the kind of day we're going to have?
It's insanity already.
Still a rifle in the hands of MW. The spike is out of reach, but Derek and Superman have managed to get enough space to scoop it up and then get it planted. Now it's on Furia to respond. MW 1 away from having the ult online.
A very interesting key thing here is that Derek's still planted in the open, not for EG, not for Superman or himself, so they're going to have to fight.
Yeah,
I think,
what the decision was there. Derek's gonna get them both! Derek fell, but Superman arrives at just the right time. You mentioned it earlier. He's gonna be the matchup up against Khalil.
Yeah.
He's been so good so far.
Yeah, he's 9-2 right now. That star power showing. And he's had no fear in his last match, now in this one as well. I mean, even from the pistol round, taking TPs up into heaven. Now just swinging 1v2. He will hit the shots, too. Now, I was wondering if Furia were going to identify that it was not planted for any of the members of EG. And if they were going to fight, it just wasn't enough.
EG with a heavy lean towards B. Havoc, the only one playing on site. Full rifles for the defense here. Oh, along with the 3 ultimates, if Jogamo takes to the skies, Havoc has no choice but to take a step back. Oh!
Are you kidding?
You rarely see that kill go that way. It's often the spam from spawn that's the problem.
Careful here.
Forget the spam, he was running the whole time. How many running guns have we seen this game so far?
Too many.
You're absolutely right. This is going to be a banger if it's anything like this. And look at this Omen flash.
Off of the swing, they're cooked. Nowhere to go. Nature getting in on the action. Noswer with the response. But there's no way for Fury to get in.
That's a hard save round right now for Furia. That was some beautiful use of ultimates and utility from EG. And they've been putting on a pace these last couple of rounds. I mean, ever since that bonus round where they just pretty much ran it down A, got into U-Haul control. They've been keeping up that pace and kind of just abusing this B site.
They have been playing so fast, you're right.
And they're not even having to invest a lot of utility, and that's why you see that paranoia still there from Superman in elbow, hidden all of long.
No, I want to get your thoughts on this, Dre. Do you feel like a lot of this more aggressive pace on the side of Evil Geniuses is due to the fact that you're not running a Viper, which is generally a bit more like, let me set the map, let me play things around, let me default here, there, and then take space? Does it feel like the composition is the big difference here?
I think you're absolutely correct, because when you have a Viper, you know, you have the opportunity to play the lurk timings. You can still do a change of pace and play a little bit quicker, but when you have such explosive utility like a paranoia, like Omen teleports, he's really able to get in there with Jojimo and use that, you know, Gecko flash paired up with the Sky Dog or whatever it may be, whatever set of util they want to use to get in hands-on in the fight.
Well, it seems to be working. There are 2 rounds on the attacking side so far. Derek 1 away from his ult. Nature not far off either. We were just talking about change of pace. This feels like the slowest round we've seen out of EG so far.
Yeah, let's see. Derek gets caught out in transition. Almost does, but gets the 1-up on Havoc. Good awareness.
The only member on the side of Furia that didn't have a rifle there, or a weapon. Just the Sheriff. No punish. Nothing found. So EG now with the numbers advantage, still choosing to play the map at a different pace, a different flavor.
Really good game planning right now from the side of EG. IGLing from Nature and the work from Potter, all the prep.
That brain trust goes crazy, man.
Yeah. Should get info off this Sky Dog that there are a lot of players in the site here. Jojimo up on the rooftop. Doesn't even need to get the first blood. Apoth running in.
And now Jojimo satcheling forward. Khalil was able to get a little bit of damage off the trade. But again, everything crumbled around them. And I just want to very quickly highlight a conversation we were having at the beginning of the round. There was one Sheriff, but everything else was rifles. It wasn't like this was a soft round out from Furia.
They're just getting absolutely overwhelmed. Furia just cannot handle this B hit coming out of EG. So I wouldn't be surprised if EG keep ending B for the rest of this half until they get stopped.
I mean,
because why
not? Yeah, if it ain't broke, why not? You're right. So Furia choose to save here. 1 rifle will be carried over into the next round. You take a quick look at the money situation for the defensive side. It's not great. So we'll see how things look moving forward. I also wonder, Dre, given kind of where we are in this first half, given how things have gone, if maybe there's a timeout afoot, knowing that there's a little bit of time to talk at the end of this round too.
Yeah, they definitely need to do a timeout, if not this next round, the one after, because it's just, it's getting out of hand, and you got to figure out how to control this B site. I mean, maybe you got to play a little bit more aggressive, control B long, play for one or the other, maybe.
Well,
as I say that, Nature cleans up the round, so no gun survived from the side of Furia.
That was the silver lining, man. They needed that.
There's that timeout.
And we'll take a look at that one more time as we have a moment to slow things down. There's that timing you were talking about earlier. Havoc getting a little bit proactive here, taking some space down sand, which is nicely done, especially when you know you're getting abused down B. Take some space early on, so he played it correctly. It just didn't really pan out in his favor.
Yeah, he just got timing. He was the only one of the Sheriff, like you said, so he can take a little bit more of a risk. And yeah, to be fair, they had the site stacked after that. They had 3 members there ready to fight. It's just EG was so overwhelming with their site hit utility. And Apoth, he was the one that was the star of the show. Jojimo was just a body bag blasting out, you know, breaking the crosshairs of any players on the sites. But it really was Apoth who was the star of that last round, running in, getting in the mix with that Stimmy and that Phantom, just running, gunning.
As we, again, think about Furia and their trajectory walking onto the stage today. They just took down 100 Thieves. They did it in 2-0 fashion. They were, I mean, I think a lot of people were surprised. I was surprised at how that played out. Dre, this feels like a very different Furia, though. This doesn't feel like they have the same pop. They don't have the same fire.
to be fair, a lot of that win was based off of Khalil's back. I gotta be honest. I gotta give him the props too.
Nazra too. Nazra was also exceptional.
He was also very good. Yeah, on the Sova and whatnot. But Khalil, he was the star of the show, and right now he's sitting at the bottom of the scoreboard. Superman's sitting at the top. That's that head-to-head I was speaking of. And if this gap keeps expanding, it's just going to be even harder and harder for Fury to make their way back. But a highlight for them is they do have 5 ultimates online, so they do have a chance in this round to stop some bleeding, and this is the adaptation.
MW has gotten across. Do they check this? Oh, they don't check it. Oh, Dre, they didn't check it. Oh, but the ult is so good. It goes from disaster impending to disaster avoided. All of that just for a 2 for 2.
Oh, and they're able to bait out that Brim ultimate. Bomb is still not grabbed, but as all this is going on, Superman, he had a lurk the last round as well, just like this, where he takes solo real estate on the A site. And now he gives his team an option to come back to him while he controls all this space. All they have to dial in on is heaven.
With Superman on the prowl, EG decide to rotate back and end towards A.
Yeah.
Also leaving Nature to make sure there's no late flank around. That's only going to tag 1. Remember, Superman's still not detected here. His position still concealed. The first one to swing will be Havoc. A jump spot to make sure there's nothing on the other side, and it wasn't far enough. A 1 for 1 though is all it is. Remember, Nature's still weak, 17 HP, no armor to speak of. Playing so far back. And the onus now, the impetus on Furia to go forward, to take space, to try to retake the site. Such a difficult ask. No utility on the side of the attack, no nade, no nothing to delay. It's just Nature and Jogamo trying to hold the line as best as they can in the face of the fade that falls. 6-2 the way of EG.
Another great round from EG. Superman taking all that space on A. He's fearless right now. He's gonna take a 50-50 if you give it to him. He's looking for it. So if you don't, now he has all that room. They're able to come all the way back to that site and play this post plant to near perfection. And I like the adaptation, but that flash, it connected onto MW0 last second, and then Derek, he just pivots that Gecko Thrash, connects onto him, and this crossfire in the post plant, beautiful.
I cannot stress the value of Derek's ult there.
Yeah.
MW had popped his rocket. There was going to be carnage, but down belong.
So unfortunate. This game is really a game of timings at some points. Will be a slow approach for EG, understanding they have gun advantage. Slow walk up.
You were just talking about how the game feels like it's a matter of timings. This game feels like time is running out for Furia. What was competitive at the beginning has been anything but since. EG have rattled them a couple of rounds off. They're up 4 now. Their money's in such a good spot. And the ults are just going to continue to stack up.
A spam kill as well. Unreal. Here's that Thrash from NZR, but I mean, look at EG. They're so ready for everything that Fury is throwing at him right now. And Superman, he hears all this running.
I mean, at least 3 guns trained on that. You're right. Superman is a trap that has been laid. Look at that smoke. Can't really find the way out from TP. MW gets picked off on the other side.
Oh my gosh.
Things are crumbling for Furia, and they're crumbling very quickly.
Might be a second time out in the same half if you want to have a chance of winning on your map pick. That's a nice shot.
Yeah, plugging Jogamo out of the sky there. Nicely done. Steady aim.
Oh, no one's going to check this.
Enemy remaining.
Just when it feels like there was a little bit of hope for Furia off of that shot from Khalil, the player that you mentioned was so electric last time they took the stage. You've got Derek, who's working through spawn, and nobody ever checks it. And now EG are up 7. They won 5 rounds in a row. This is becoming disaster for the Brazilian representatives.
It was a cool 4-1 approach. Having Superman be the lurk this time, not going for an aggressive A short take, but this time just holding the flank and then one-waying for the TP because they're aware that Furia have gotten success crunching the TP previously. I mean, Furia hasn't had much success in this half whatsoever, but that was one of the highlights that I noted down.
Note the attack side op in Derek's hands.
Jeez. Another new look. A new default, too.
Yep.
Free shower control.
Out here, Havoc putting the pit down A short at the very beginning of the round. Allows them to play a little bit softer on A. It's just MW with them.
Yeah, and EG's whole idea was to take showers off of that Viper's pit to maybe bait a rotation out. Furia right now, they're doing a really good job of keeping 3 players towards B, but now getting a little antsy. That showers pressure, that showers control, cooking into the brains of Furia. The problem is it's another 2-player stack on the B site, and we've seen how, you know, EG just completely roll over 2 players on this B site.
I have so many options here too. If they want to end back A, they can use Nature's Util to clear the pit and then pounce. They have so many different ways that they can approach this problem. A little bit of spam damage dealt onto Derek, down to 7 HP now. Still alive though. Far from healthy.
30 seconds
The
left.
heal will change things. They've burned the clock down a lot here, Dre.
Yeah, they're going to have to commit off of that kill on Superman.
They're gonna go. They've got to go soon here. Again, one of the freest kills of his life. You see Jogma satcheling out, getting the best of Khalil. The rocket over the top will not connect, but it doesn't matter because the site's all theirs. Now, 10 seconds left. They're going to be able to slow things down, get the spike down. They have a numbers advantage, but Havoc and MW are on the way.
Jogma might get caught out here. Barrel should be seen if Havoc goes out wide left. As I say that, he takes the head-to-head. Ooh.
Crispy shots onto one. Still a 1v2 waiting on the other side. Note that Derek has no armor. The swing out from Nature as Havoc falls. Another round the way of EG.
I mean, no hesitation, no doubt in their minds. EG full steam ahead. The fast reaction to just speed up B after Superman drops right there. This is a job well done so far from EG. I mean, this is a disaster of a half for Furia. I mean, Apop on these entries, he's been wonderful.
Apop, Jogma, we've sung the praises.
Yeah, we just cycled
so many times. Yeah.
And the scoreboard, I mean, it tells the whole story of why we're giving so much praise to EG players. I mean, everyone is so close together.
It really was. It was close until it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was 2-2, and then all EG, all since. Furia with a nice start to the round, though.
Yeah, they've had enough. They've had enough, Doug. They're like, all right, we're done giving you B-long. Let's start taking some aim fights.
Yeah, and I think they've tried to approach this problem from a couple of different scenarios. We saw it in the previous round. Nosbridge uses Dizzy all the way down long. Wasn't able to recover it, but they're trying different things to establish some control down B long. This would just happen to be the most successful of the attempts.
Sometimes you just gotta shoot fire with fire.
Yeah, just go fight.
Sit them down.
Yep. Just go fight.
Superman, he's gonna have to fight for himself right here if he wants to bring this round back for his squad.
Little noise made.
Oh.
Lulled to sleep.
That's an opening now on that A site, so Furia, even though they had number advantage, they got squandered very early on.
Oh, Apop is gonna get this down. He's gonna have his ult. If he can stay alive. Oh, 8 HP left. Nade was danger close, but now can take a step back, and remember that orbital strike online now almost secures the round.
Molly orbital strike to back it up. Jojimo here to just be a thorn in the side of Furia. He's gonna take every timing he has. He's probably gonna clean up both as well.
I mean, yeah, he might just win it. He might just win it by himself.
Look at this guy.
But what I love about this EG project, and honestly, it's been the case the entire time, there are layers to their approach. They have plans upon plans. If Jogamo doesn't get free, which he did, they had the ult, they had the molly, they had so many things to cover it. But then Jogamo just Jogamoed.
So much security into that round. Indeed, and then yeah, Jogamo just pop it off. Having that superstar performance once more. And he was kind of quiet in the start of this half, but the cool thing about this roster is it just seems that somebody will pick it up for them at the right moment.
I love watching Jogamo play, and it's been so much fun to watch his career develop, you know, over all of these years. And I think just appreciating some of the little things like that third kill in that 3K
swagger.
And there was no like over swinging and then micro correcting or anything like that. With all of the distortion of the nade on the screen, just snaps perfectly, putting a bullet between his eyes. Jogamo's just so mechanically good, man.
And
nuts.
And speaking of his growth, I mean, even in the beginning of this season, right? Stage 1, kickoff, everything like that. I mean, he was struggling.
Yeah, he was.
He was really struggling. I mean, he was going through a slump that I've never seen him go through in his career. And he got out of it, and he's back to looking like a superstar once more. And yeah, he looks great. I mean, when he's locked in, when he's in the flow state, it's something wonderful to witness.
I mean, this whole map, mind you, it's just the first map, and yes, it's just the first half of the first map, but this feels like it's been a flow state for EG from round, what, 4?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
Something like that. They've just found the weaknesses in the defense for Furia, and they have abused it every step of the way.
Yeah, abusing the B site, and then all of a sudden doing a pace change, like you stated, where they just slow the round down randomly. Look at that.
That's a wild image.
I love that one. Super good. If only he knew what we knew.
If only. We got, for those of you who are watching at home or listening or here in the arena, as you've likely deduced at this point, we've got Tech Pause gear. As soon as we get that situated, we'll get back into the action. It's been all EG all the way from round 5. I think a player that we were just talking about because of the masterpiece that we just saw on our screens. Well, Superman, and the hot start that he had at the beginning of the map, I think he was 9-1.
Yeah, he was.
At one point, something like that. He was just farming. And yeah, he's slowed down a little bit because all of the other pieces around EG have been stepping up and delivering. But this EG project, I don't want to go back to last year. I don't want to do it. But the more I look and the more weeks pass by, the more I go, hang on, there's some really funny parallels that just continue to show up.
Yeah.
CG looks like one of the best CGs we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's been great to watch in this stage too. I mean, these last 2 matches and the change of the meta as well. I think they've done a really good job of adapting to it. And honestly, they were making Viper look useless right now. And I think that's a key factor in this series is that I don't think you're going to see EG run Viper on many maps anymore.
Well, so right before Shanghai, the big Viper change comes through. One of the bigger parts of discussion was that Viper can no longer pick up her orb. So you can't scale up with it like we've seen them do a couple of times. It's just not the same anymore. And so now we're seeing teams start to move away from it. And again, the discussion in Shanghai was, will that happen? Will there even be enough time to adapt to make some of those changes? But I want to get your thoughts now that we have a little bit of time, now that we've had teams be able to work through the down period now that Shanghai's done. What are your thoughts on the Viper changes? Are we going to see more teams move away?
I think we will. I think that orb being changed where you cannot pick it up and relocate it in the middle of the round, I think that's a huge nerf that it's just tough to make it work. Now, there are still some teams like G2 who run it on Lotus still, and it's just because their macro game with that composition is so good. It's just, I don't know, not being able to be so maneuverable with that orb and not being able to pick it up, throw it again, use it for the post plant even, or for the retakes. I feel like it's really difficult to make that work because if the enemy team is able to identify where your Viper orb is, it can kind of make it obvious where you're set up.
Yeah, sure. And there was already a little bit of telegraph with the wall.
Exactly.
So we see that kind of lean in a little bit more and more. And I think, again, we will see teams start to move away from it. Especially given how versatile all of the other controllers are in the game right now.
Yeah.
I just feel like the game is in a really good place when it comes to agent diversity. I am being told we're under a minute away from getting back into the action. And if I'm wrong about that, we'll blame the producers and not me. But if I'm right, then I'll take all of the credit because we'll get back into the action. Now I'm being told we're going into a timeout, so that doesn't really feel fair. I don't know whose fault that is. We'll own this one. We'll take it. But Trey, I do want to get your thoughts on this. Last round of the half, Furia calls their second timeout already. They've burned everything they have. Is this we want to secure 9-3 because we feel really good about the second half, or what? How do you interpret this?
I mean, in my opinion, it's the last round of the half. It should have came way earlier, in my opinion. I guess you want to salvage a 9-3, but like if you don't win this next round and you have no timeouts for the next half, it's just looking glim.
Yeah.
To say the least, honestly. So I don't know what they can really cook up to steal this round away from EG because it just feels like the momentum of EG is full steam ahead. Now, that being said, that was a pretty long tech pause into a timeout. It might be enough to ice EG and maybe bring momentum back into the favor of Furia. Only time will tell.
They don't
really have time.
Yeah, we're back into it. Yeah, they don't have any ults online right now, but if you take a look at the scoreboard, Noswer, MW, Khalil, all close to theirs. You wonder here if they're going to try to play around getting these ults online to, again, steal that ever pivotal 12th round. The spam not connecting on anyone. The eye did spot Derek, and he has nowhere to go. There's a molly on the other side. That was such a good setup.
Cosmetic.
The mosh pit behind it, the orbital strike at your feet. Somehow he gets away. But they seem to be doing a decent job holding the line so far. Of course, Superman arrives on the scene.
And look at how he does it. He TP'd onto that box. These are things that you're not ready for at all. This is the difference between the Omen and the Viper.
That's just so tough, man. Furia back down on a numbers disadvantage. You've got Nosler and you've got Havoc. Nosler has been such a bright spot on this team since joining, and you see it because of stuff like that.
That was clean.
It's just ridiculous how he gets away with it. Nosler gets another, the third potentially on the other side. Still has Havoc in his help. Thrash not connecting. But can Nosler do so? Oh, it's Havoc who cleans it up. Furia will get their third of the half. But that took a lot just to get to 3, man.
Heroics, ultimates, all of the above. But they secured the 9-3 curse. That's what they're relying on. So maybe it was a good timeout. Look at that. Look at that.
You're right. What is this play from Superman?
It's no fear is what it is. And that's what happens when you're up 9-2.5.
Well, and when you're playing Omen and you can play more aggressively, you can try to jump into spaces and create havoc, just like we saw him do. So Furia will get to their third. 9-3 still the way of EG. Let's get a quick word from Coach Potter and hear what she has to say about EG's chances in 2024.
You know, it's definitely one game at a time, and all of us, of course, we would love to make it a chance. We would love to repeat the EG story, but you know, Americas is extremely competitive. I think there's 8 teams right now that can beat each other on any given day. So it's going to be extremely challenging, but that's the fun part of it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to know who the 2 teams were in her mind that she didn't think of when she said there were 8 teams or 3 teams that couldn't compete. I think she's right though. When you turn into the second stage of the season, when you think about the fact that standings are cumulative, all you're fighting for is that playoff spot. It has to be a game at a time. You can't really think beyond that.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, if you're looking too far ahead, you might not even get there in the first place, right? So, yeah, and we've seen that happen to a bunch of teams before, but Potter, she's been around the game for so long. She has so much experience, even just last year alone in VALORANT, right? That whole experience was nuts. And the fact that she was able to bring it all the way back around, turn it around with a new player that they put in, Demon 1, of course. Yeah, he was great and phenomenal, but people don't understand how rare it is to find a player like that. And she's the one that did all the scouting for that. She built this roster together that we're seeing dominate right now. And yeah, that stage 1 was a little bit shaky for them, but I mean, this is the time, right? It's make it or break it. Stage 2, you got to put your heart on the line.
And so far they've done so up against a battered and beaten Furia, who again came in with such high hopes after besting 100 Thieves. That just feels like so long ago compared to where we are now. EG up 6 rounds here. We'll see what the second half holds for us. And as we talked so much about the Viperless comp on the attacking side, where do you see some of the differences now that we know EG's headed to the defense?
You're going to see some one-ways, you know, most notably probably Octagon. We've seen some cool things internationally in like hookah and whatnot. What a...
Oh my. Oh. That was not its intended location.
Space still gathered.
A brutal start to the round for Furia, though. Maybe they can slow things down here. They've gotten the spike down. You're right. They've gotten the space they were looking for with no thanks to that molly. Now they're going to have to figure out how to retake the showers control. This is nicely done by EG. They know they're going to have to clear the space out. You got to be cautious about what you're investing. Or Superman's just going to do that.
That was insane. Jogamo cleans up NZR. This retake is in full effect right now for EG. Jogamo going for more. Derek getting havoc in the wraparound from APOD. Protocols on protocols. Clinical pistol round win for EG.
It just doesn't get any better than that, Dre. It really doesn't.
Wow.
They played that perfectly.
That was beautiful to watch.
And yeah, it was all off the backs of Superman getting that kill through showers, yes, but even understanding and being willing to invest that much to clear showers, to control that space. It's so important when being able to hold that in a retake. That's just so dumb to look at from his point of view. That's just silly.
I'd be so, yeah, look at look at him. That would be my response as well. There's nothing you can do about that, you know? On to the next.
Live, laugh, love or something, I don't know.
Yeah. It has to be a force buy if Furia want to crawl their way back into this round.
You know, oftentimes you see that mosh pit land outside of showers because you have pressure coming in through showers to crunch him in. It didn't seem like there was anything to really keep him corralled in there. And there's a pretty notable gun advantage here on the side of Evil Geniuses as well. You've got a Guardian and an Outlaw. But Furia have gone on walkabouts. The flash is so good. Nas were managing to get the kill into Nature, though. They've made this competitive. Things have gotten messy. APOD, the last line of defense. 2 fouls.
Spike down B.
It's a good scrappy round so far from Furia, and Havoc having all that A control makes Furia aware that EG are probably flanking through shower. They noted that both these players, Jawjimo and Superman, were in shower in the previous round, so it's probably the same case here.
How are you going to do this with an Outlaw?
No, it's so tough. He's definitely going to be the guy that goes for the bomb.
Yeah.
Tries to defuse.
And you would think if Furia played this in a disciplined manner, they're not going to give him a swing. They're not going to give him anything to look at.
Still a molly here as well to play around with. Time's running down low. Nice.
Very nicely done. I think oftentimes we'll see plays like that where a team will try to take a site and then push in through spawn and then flip the map in a very unconventional manner. And oftentimes it's disastrous to look at, right? Oftentimes it falls flat on its face. But massive props to Furia to be able to navigate that as well as they did.
Yeah, seriously. The 4-man pushing squad into spawn, or 3-man I should say, because one got taken out. APOD, he did a good job getting 2 there. It easily could have just gotten 1 for 1. But Furia needed this round. They definitely needed this. Any type of life to bring this map back. Maybe this is their map pick. And there you go, a very early timeout.
I like this out of Potter. Do it early. Do it before things get really messy. You know, you don't want to be hitting that when it's full, like all alarms going off. Everything is a disaster. The dumpster fire's in full effect. They do it early. There's still plenty of time to slow things down, to talk through what the rest of the half may look at. And I think the other thing we have to mention very quickly is this is another opportunity for Furia to talk to their coaching staff.
Yeah.
Haven't been able to do it in a little bit, and if not for another timeout from EG, they won't be able to do that for the rest of the map.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of what you were saying about the early timeout, I think it's very important when you have a big lead like this to use an early timeout to, you know, make sure everyone on the squad remembers the fundamentals and how to just close out the game without having individual performances. Because the big thing that allows teams to come back is when you're feeling it a little too much, you know, a little too overeager, a little too overconfident, you start making solo plays. I feel like Derek in that spot when he was stuck in CT, that is always an option that he could get, you know, pushed. Right. Maybe take a little bit more of a passive angle and wait for your teammates from B to rotate into you. So just a little bit of fundamental steps missed in that round, and Potter wanting to nip that in the bud.
Nalsworth's very quietly 14-13. No one else on his team has double-digit kills.
Blinded.
He's been so consistent, again, since joining Furia.
Yeah, he's been great. It just hasn't really been enough. Yeah. Khalil stepping up was enough to take out 100 Thieves alongside with him.
Send Busio into retirement. I hate it for him.
Poor guy. Hey, you talk a big game, you gotta back it up.
Guess it means the Piggy can come back though, right?
Hopefully.
MW satcheling forward, getting a little bit of high ground. Jawjimo's lit up. Look at the discipline out from EG though.
What is that?
We're gonna need to run that back. See it in 4K, slow-mo, the whole thing. That's ridiculous.
That's insane.
Meanwhile, Furia gonna try to flip the map, and the Paranoid's gonna buy a bit of time. Very nicely done from Superman. Ghost in hand, jog him over the top with the Guardian. Superman will fall.
They stopped her.
Thrash not really able to find very much. Keep an eye on this. It has all the makings of a messy round again. Still 2 rifles in the hands of the attackers. All of the members of the defense have arrived. Bucky dealing damage. 5 HP for Khalil.
They can cut.
But not much more. Are they going to be able to get back into this? A Sheriff in the hands of Derek. A Guardian now for Nature. That's a big upgrade. But time is short. And Furia's huddled up, hand in hand as they try to sneak the 15 round away from EG. On the swing. They've gotten it down to 1. What a massive 3K. I didn't think that was going to play out that way.
Oh my gosh. Definitely a round that EG could have taken into their own hands, but the comeback That man on the screen right now, getting 3 into the round, cleaning up Nature right there, who couldn't get all together. What a ridiculous shot.
Dude, what?
Yeah, literally. Dude, what indeed? I mean, even getting that second from Derek there on the wide swing of Khalil really came down to Nature just whiffing that Guardian shot on a player that was 1 HP, but just like that, Apoth already answering, taking out NZR, who we've been priding so much in this match.
Look at that one way. Yeah, how do you even get around that? Second orbital strike traded, MW falls. Havoc had no choice but to take safe passage to his teleporter. And has to hold here. He's in a miserable spot.
God, this is such a tough round to win. You're going to have to contact in if you're Furia. Try to get any type of punishment on a mistake of EG's side to bring this one back. But it's just going to be a very, very tough ask, especially with how EG are set up into this round. Superman on top of that box. Everyone jump spotting, not willing to give any type of kill away for free.
Oh, they're so ahead of this. They used the dog to clear out long, and then they knew exactly where the rest of the hit was coming from. That's so pretty.
Yeah.
Toxin screen down.
Just really nothing Furia can do to bring this one back. I mean, the reposition onto here as well from Apoth, taking this aggressive off angle.
And I think what's important to note here is when teams do that, right? Is feeling out the round, feeling out the situation, knowing when you can take a little bit more without getting punished, without it being too disastrous on the other side. That little reposition there from Apoth that you were just mentioning and tucking into Cubby on A short. That's the kind of proactive play that we want to see out of teams that are having a really good understanding of how their comp works and what they need to do in order to take maps away.
Yeah, and great map awareness as well. Like understanding that most of the players of Furia were geared towards B in that moment because they are down numbers. And the lurk was basically already killed.
Yep.
In shower. So why not take free space on an off angle? Have Furia at least have to slowly clear you in a close cubby like that. That was the first blood.
And then also even understanding, like, understanding when to take those risks. You're up in a 5v2, a 5v3, something like that. Obviously, you don't want to get too loose with those, but you can afford to give something up like that, even if it's just a 1-for-1. So,
yeah.
EG look great. Furia with a bulldog in the hands of their duelist and pistols around, and he's already taken so much damage.
Yeah, he's going to cycle it onto somebody else, I imagine. Maybe NZR. Who's sitting on light armor and a sheriff. Nice. Opting to hold it for now.
Ooh. I think part of the problem is there's no real go button for MW on the other side of this. It's not like he has satchels to break crosshairs and let him Noswer or something else fall behind him.
That's a very good point. Look at these one-ways. It's just so weird to play against, especially if you're not used to it. I mean, who knows how many reps Furia have had, or any teams have had against an Omen on Vine.
It's been so long. It's been so long. Really nice paranoia.
No way.
Unbelievable from Superman again. Beckon for the ace, but it's dropped by Noswer. Who else? Jogamo cleans it up, but EG gets a map point. Man, that kid's good.
That was so nasty. Through a fade Prowler. Most players would panic and just shoot the Prowler running at them. But the poise to just shoot the players in the back of it and then break it on accident because you're just shooting bodies. Look at this.
So steady. So controlled.
That's every anchor's dream. But on the side of Furia, how are we not looking to the right?
Yeah.
It's so worried about U-Haul. I guess Apoth is just rent-free in their head from that last round.
That does not feel good. And now EG dialing up the pace once more. See that Dizzy gets so high up, gets the tags over the smokes. That's actually such a cool play.
And then the response too from Superman with the paranoia to shut down the speed up into hookah. I mean, now Furia, they have nowhere else to go. You have to go back A, which is the right call, but you're running into a showstopper.
He does have it. Satchel's up. No, what? Where'd the rocket go? An ABP out on it. The Prowler hunting him down. Superman taking a small step back as Derek has joined the fray.
Spike planted.
You got to keep a close eye on the fight on the other side of the map. Havoc falls. He tried taking the timing. Superman continues.
He's unbelievable right now.
To make the kill feed bleed.
He's unbelievable right now.
4 in the last round, 3 in this one. And again, it's Noswer. Who else but Noswer? He's going to get his 1, maybe even his 2, but a stump courtesy of Evil Geniuses. 13-5. Dre, that was filthy.
Convincing. And Superman, if he can keep up performances like this EG team has a really good chance of making a run in this stage 2.
Superman looked incredible. Jogamo was Jogamo. Apop had massive moments. I mean, yeah, man, this is an EG roster that looks really good, that looks really refreshed, fully understanding what their plan was going into this and abusing every single weakness they found on the side of Furia.
Amazing play.
13-5. The way of Evil Geniuses. Lotus is going to be on the other side of this break. That is Evil Geniuses. Matt Pick, don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Every time I needed a new phone, I had to switch carriers.
I told him, at Verizon, everyone can get the best deals. Like that iPhone 15 on them.
Switching all the time, it wasn't easy.
35. You're gonna be here forever.
And
Here's your wireless contract.
do I need a lawyer for this? Those were hard days.
Representative switch!
Now that I got a huge storage and battery upgrade, I'm officially done switching.
New and existing customers get iPhone 15 on us when they trade in any iPhone, any condition, guaranteed.
I really wish you told me sooner.
I did.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Don't you see the mess you made? Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. I think we need to go our ways. Don't you see the mess you made? Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. I think we need to go our ways. Don't you see the mess you made? Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Don't you see the mess you made? Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. I think we need to go our ways. Don't you see the mess you made? Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. I think we need to go our ways. Don't you see the mess you made? Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe. Yeah, I'ma hit the road, babe.